Hello, Scouting memorabilia collectors. Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. This collection has been sent to me on preview, which happens sometimes. That means that the individual knows he wants to get rid of the stuff, he wants to pass it on to someone. And instead of going through and taking the tedious steps of taking pictures and kind of documenting everything and then sharing that with me so that we can go back and forth with an offer, he decided just to send me the box. He also said, I'd love to make, if you could make an unboxing video for my collection. I said, of course I will, no problem. And so I'm going to do that today with the caveat that I have not seen what's in this box. I don't have any idea what's in the collection. So it's definitely going to be a surprise for me. And I'm happy to show it to you live here on this video. Okay, I got the box open and you can see that there's actually a note here. Well, I went back and forth. So just simply wrote me a note that has his address so I can get back in touch with him. I'm going to owe him a check after we get this worked out. Assuming this is just his time in scouting. And so as we go through these bags, we'll be able to discover where he was doing his scouting, what he was up to. So let me just pull the bags out. Good place to get started. Obviously, right here, we can see just right through the bag, we can see it's kind of this 1960s era. I see an Explorer shirt, or it looks like a Philmont belt buckle. It's always a good thing. I'll set that up there. We'll kind of go through it. So well, save that one. Let's get to this one first. See what is here. And talk about these items. Alrighty. So again, just going through the uniform pieces because it's on top. So, anyone who has saved 6 pairs of Boy Scout socks, my guess is they were definitely heavily involved in the program. Maybe they worked on Scout staff or something, because why else would you need 6 different pairs of underwear? Or maybe they went to a National Scout Jamboree. I'm not sure. I don't have in my notes what, again, this guy's scouting history was. The shoulder patch here tells us a little bit. St. Louis Area Council, Troop 92. And if we roll this out, we can see it's actually a good sized shirt and it has a first class patch on it. Then I mentioned a second ago as I was pulling this out, there were some other shirts here. This one has the Explorer shirt. Now this is kind of the later style. It's not made from cotton. I'm not sure exactly what the fabric is, but it's again a good sized shirt, which is good because anytime today you have a larger size shirt, it's gonna be a lot easier to find someone who would want to wear that and then use it today. So again, similarly, we have this shirt. This symbol right here is the Explorer symbol that basically would tell you that this is probably 1960s, post 1958, has this circle rocket going up through the 1960s. Sometime in the 1970s, they adopt that symbol that's kind of like a big E. I think that's what some people refer to it as. So it's again St. Louis Area Council. And these are made of cotton. So these are the older style Explorer shirts again. Still see that same circle rocket logo. Just curious to see if there's any, during that period of time, there was no rank that explorers could earn. So I'm not surprised that the shirt does not have anything, as far as like a rank patch or anything. The rank system for explorers ended in 1958. They got away from that. So couple of belts here, both of them with Philmont belt buckles, which is always great. This is a classic belt buckle. I see a lot of these because so many people that I deal with who have kept their scouting memorabilia for decades and decades and decades, they tend to have had one of two things in common. Well, 3 things. Either they were an Eagle Scout, and so it really meant something to them. They worked hard. Number 2, they've been to a National Scout Jamboree, which means they had this highlight moment of their scouting career, and again, sentimental reasons. Or number 3, they went to Philmont. And some people have all of those things in common. This guy will discover, but right here we can see definitely went to Philmont. And this belt is the Philmont belt that you can get out there, and you can see it's definitely been worn just around the edges here. But that classic brass looking Philmont buckle. Some other uniform pieces in here. See these a lot. If you don't know, these are like sort of like chaps. I'm not exactly sure what you call them. I think that they're leggings or something. Yeah, it says official leggings. This was used for the green Explorer uniform, and it was so that you could tuck in the cuffs of your pants to make it look a little nicer when you were like doing fancy parade or maybe at a court of honor type thing. Then here's the Explorer belt buckle and belt. So this is a white web belt, whereas the Boy Scouts at that time would have had a green. And he does have the Explorer belt buckle. Hat here, this is a classic Philmont hat. I do really like this hat. All of them I have ever gotten in my life are all really small. And what do you know? This one's small too. I don't know if they made a bigger size hat. I've never really seen one, but I like that Philmont arrowhead. And then a couple of Garrison caps. This one, of course, again, we see that same symbol there. That's for the Explorer one, and these are the ones for the Boy Scouts. This style of hat, I've mentioned this before, but I love what's going on and on about the Fablemans. So those are the exact same hats that I sold to the costumer that I dealt with the Fablemans. So, all right, here we go. There's a couple of pieces of paper here. A program for the 25th annual Scout pilgrimage to Lincoln's Tomb, 1970. So that again starts to help us date, and that would make sense because when I was looking at the Explorer shirts, the type of material that was not cotton, I don't know what you call it, some kind of a poly blend. To me, that is 1970s. And so if he was doing a scouting event in 1970, that definitely kind of places things. This one says a special awards company. Interesting. So that is interesting. Let's look at this. The catalog says Special Awards Company, your headquarters for special awards, St. Louis, Missouri. And on the back, there's tons of patches there. And I look through here, these are like sort of like generic patches, like hiking awards, 100-mile hiking awards, things like that. Some of these, I confess, I do kind of recognize seeing these patches before. This is not so unusual, I've definitely seen that one with polar bear, and that patch companies would have stock patches that you could then order. And here's some vests. In fact, they have different colored vests that you can order. And there's a purchase order form, buckskin thing. That is really pretty cool. Someone who's a patch guy like me, I can really kind of appreciate, sort of like a patch company brochure order form. And then this was inside there as well. So what this guy is, 4 Woodland Trails. And that's just a little trail thing that necessarily doesn't go with the patch book, but that's okay. And then you may have seen these before in other collections, these sort of generic things you could put on the back. This guy's name. He was presented to service rendered to his troop, and just a nice looking thing. That's the Scoutmaster artwork by Rockwell that many of you would recognize. And then let's see what's in this trash bag. Ironically, a trash bag is actually a good thing to include when you're sending scouting memorabilia, because I have had boxes that rip open, and I don't know that stuff fell out, but probably stuff fell out. But if it's encased in a bag like this, then it's safe. All right, that is interesting. I'm seeing a couple of other interesting pieces here. All right, let's just get this guy out of the way since it's so big. Whoa, man, it's got his name on it. And this suggests to me a jamboree because it says Section 17, Troop 78 or 73. That is the kind of thing you would see for a jamboree troop, because it would be, like a sub camp today. We would call it sub camps. Like when I went to this last National Scout Jamboree, I was in sub camp C3, Charlie 3. And this backpack here, let's see, St. Louis, Washington, D.C. Oh, okay. 64 Valley Forge National Jamboree. So this is almost like he was writing down the things that he went to on the back here with a Sharpie. That's pretty cool. A little keepsake there. So let's slide some things over and we'll see what else we got. This looks like neckerchiefs. So, we're going to see a lot of St. Louis, right? So there's St. Louis. Here's the St. Louis contingent neckerchief in 64. I've seen that neckerchief before. I think those probably got traded around. I've seen them in lots of collections. The 64 Jamboree. This is a Shawnee Lodge. Looks like West Chapter. Not a very original name. They could have thought of an Indian name, right? But West Chapter of Shawnee Lodge. That here is Shawnee Lodge. This is the 1965 Fall Reunion. And then St. Louis Area Council camps there. And then another bag here of stuff. We have, of course, good old Ordeal Sash, 64 Jamboree, jacket patch in good condition. Again, we saw the Philmont belt, so it doesn't surprise us we'd see a Philmont neckerchief. Another one of those. Another one of those. I have seen lots of these, Shawnee Lodge, Big Lodge, put out lots and lots of memorabilia. Their stuff's pretty easy to find. So I've seen this logo and this neckerchief before, and here, of course, he has 2 of them there. Boy Scout Circus, St. Louis camps, St. Louis camps. So good looking stuff there. Now, interestingly, let me give into this. Right off the bat, I can tell that this It's not his stuff, not stuff that he earned. I mean, it's obvious that we have a felt Order of the Arrow sash here. So that felt sash is going to be sometime late 1930s through 1940s. And if we match it up with what else is in here, which is the 1935, yeah, 1935 National Scout Jamboree neckerchief, then this all matches because this felt sash could have been from the 30s. You can kind of look at these and see. This one is interesting because it's been sewn together right there. I don't think it was ever issued that way. I think maybe it was just something that somebody sewed that. But there are kind of some different variations of these old felt sashes. Some lodges did make their own felt sashes before there was like a national thing. And I will say that this fletching down here does look a little unusual to me. So I'll have to ask some friends of mine to see if this is something that might have been a little more of a homemade job. Maybe, of course, St. Louis would have had a huge council. But that's not to say where, if this was dad or uncle, that's not to say that this is where they did their scouting in St. Louis. Where the son grew up in St. Louis, but that doesn't mean that. So let's take a look at this because this, again, if we're looking at dad stuff or grandpa stuff, there might be some stuff on this shirt that can kind of clue us into what's going on. So, all right, something's in the shirt pocket here. Let's get to that. See what that is. This might be the buttons because sometimes on these old shirts, they would take the metal buttons off, and that was so that when you had it cleaned or dry cleaned or something, yeah, that's probably what I thought. So there is a little arrow dangle with the round loop there, and then there's a little. It looks like maybe it's military. No, that's a scouting symbol on it. I'll have to look at that and look that up. There is a BSA fleur de lis, and it has a little eagle on it, which I think I remember seeing the eagle on their scout camp as kind of a little symbol. So I'll do a little more research on that one, but I don't believe it's like a totem pin at the time. And then I did notice on the sleeve here, where'd it go? Yeah, okay, here we go. St. Louis. So again, same deal. Oh, gosh, St. Troop 92, St. Louis. So the chances that his dad was in the exact same troop that he was in are very slim. So if this was this is just my experience. He was in Troop 92. This shirt is from Troop 92. My guess is this was probably gifted to him through someone in the troop. This was somebody's father, somebody's uncle, somebody's grandfather, something, and it was gifted to him. But I just doubt that it was his dad who was in the exact same troop. Could be wrong, but most people don't stay in that one place in their whole family. Like the dad to grow up in the same house as the son. Yeah, not people generally do move around. So, and especially if the dad was in scouting in the late 30s, mid 30s, I don't know. That's a little questionable, but that's a nice looking shirt. It's actually been repaired on the back, which doesn't surprise me because back in that day, you would have taken care of your stuff and you would have definitely, reused it over again. So that's pretty cool. 35, the story on the 35 Jamboree. It's actually not held. Polio, President Roosevelt canceled that Jamboree about 2 months before it was scheduled to be held. Some troops had already made their way there or heading that way, and so kind of got in the middle of it. Got a little box here, 2 different cigar boxes, the good old Dutch Masters. This is a military patch. You probably spotted that right off the top. So St. Louis, this Camp May, a little leather neckerchief slide. Of course, the garters for explorers and for scouts. Some Weeblos colors. Just kind of a knick-knacky box. You see a lot of these kind of boxes in collection. Again, a military patch where scouts during that time period, all of them wore neckerchief slides. And it was very common at summer camp, for example, to paint neckerchief slides, make neckerchief slides. And you'll see a lot of homemade neckerchief slides too, but then you'll also see ones where they've kind of decorated. Like literally this one's made of cardboard with something printed on top of it and just some wires there. So a lot of little homemade jobs, things like this, this one's busted, but there's a little ceramic wolf head. And then there's another handful here, again, of military patches, like somebody was perhaps a sergeant of some rank in one of the branches of the military. See anything else in here that I haven't seen before? Yeah, again, Camp Promoter Shawnee Lodge. I've seen this type of leather neckerchief slide before. So keep all that together. And then there's one more here. See what this one's got. Some little cords. Again, another one. This one can be, says OA 1964, so we know that's from Shawnee. Some other leather items here. This is a jacket emblem. So this Explorer emblem would have been worn on the red jack shirt or on the cotton, we call it poplin jacket that the explorers wore during that time. See some event patches here, Shawnee Spring Conclave, another one like that. 19 Spring Conclave. So definitely this guy was active in the Order of the Arrow because he's going to all these different OA events. So it wasn't just a one and done, as we call it, where you get your ordeal and then you check out. I'm not sure what Wagoners is as far as St. Louis Area Council. This could have been perhaps an event or a district. If the district was called the Wagoners or some other, I don't know what the Wagoners were. Maybe somebody can leave a comment there. And then here are some just rank patches. A couple we saw in that uniform. There was a first class, and so here's some more first class. And there's, I think that might be assistant senior patrol leader. A couple of other patches here. Explore, parade, district. There's a cute one like this. My mother-in-law actually really likes Snoopy patches. So, well, she likes Snoopy. I don't know that she likes Snoopy patches. And there's a Universal Explorer emblem. That's pre 1958, so that would have been older. But there's a lot of those out there. And then this is just mostly just again troop numbers and things like that. So nothing else too rare or interesting there. So, anyways, that's it. That's the collection. Again, total surprise for me. Didn't have any notes, didn't have any knowledge of where this stuff was from. Got the old stuff mixed in. I love that. Some of those shirts are a good size, and so I could definitely see me running those through the wash and ironing them and making them available. Maybe somebody on my summer camp staff would like to have those. We'll see. Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. This is what I do. I'm a scouting memorabilia collector and dealer. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you have a collection like this sitting at home, sitting in boxes, sitting in the attic, sitting in the basement, no one in your family has looked at it in 2 decades. If you drug it from house to house for moves, if you're ready to sell your collection to get it into the hands of somebody who might appreciate it, reach out to me. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There you can find more information about me, connect with me, send me a text, an email, phone call. We can talk about your collection and see if it's one that I'd be interested in buying. Thank you so much.